Hi, I'm George Pearson, and in this Photoshop Elements video we'll be looking at how to make this letter cube, or kind of a fake 3D letter cube. Now if you enjoy this video, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and also click on that like button. I'll really appreciate that. If you really want to learn how to use Photoshop Elements, then you want to take a look at my complete training, which you'll find on Amazon or at my website, and the links for that is in the description. Making this letter cube is a fairly straightforward and easy process. Once you know the steps, you can make all the cubes you want, change the letters, maybe put photographs in here. Whatever you feel like is really up to you. We'll look at the basic process here for making just the one cube. Then you can take it from there if you want to go further with this. Let's start off now with just hiding this one file. Let's just close that out. File, new, blank file. And I'll leave this at the default Photoshop Elements size, which is 6 by 4 inches and 300 pixels per inch. Choose OK. There we go. Now we need to have guidelines in this. The whole thing is based upon some guidelines. I want to have guidelines at the 1 inch marks across the top and across the left hand side here. We'll get those exact by going to the View menu, New Guide. Let's do our vertical guides first. Just type in 1 and OK. There's the first guide. And we'll just go through this and type in the rest. There's number 2, new guide make that a 3. There we go. And new guide 4 and new guide 5. We can now do the horizontal guides. So view, new guide, change to horizontal, and come down here and change this to a 1. There we go. And then view, new guide 2, and view, new guide 3. We'll be putting in some guides by hand as well in just a minute. We'll just eyeball those, but these are the main ones. Everything's going to be kind of based off of this. Now I need to have a guide up here at the 1/2 inch point and a guide over here at the 4.5 inch point. Let's go ahead and put those in. So it's a 1/2 inch on the horizontal, so view, new guide, horizontal, and just type in 0.5. There we go. Back to our new guide. Change this to vertical, and this time we want 4.5, just like that. Okay, so there's our guidelines. Let's now put in a rectangular shape. Click on the shape down here. I'm going to change my color to that blue right there. It's a CMYK blue, just kind of a nice medium blue. I have my shape set at square, and I have these unchecked, and make sure under View and Snap To that Snap To Guides is checked. Now come in 2 lines here, 2 lines, and then 1 down, so it's 2 inches in and 1 inch down, and then click and drag from there and come down so you're covering 4 squares in the middle, just like that. That's our basic shape, all built upon those guidelines. Okay, at this point we can take the shape, right click on the name, and simplify the layer. There we go. I now want to make another layer, and the new layer we're going to be cutting out the middle of this section. To do that, let's put in some more guides. I'm going to eyeball these. Just grab the top ruler and pull it down and bring it down to the 1 1/4 inch line. That's right on the left hand side there. Let's do at the very bottom a 1/4 inch up, which is actually at 2 3/4 rather. See it right there, 2 3/4. And then left and right sides, same thing on this inner square here. It's going to be 2 1/4, and then in at 3 3/4. I could go in and set those specifically with the view and new guide, but it's just as easy right now to do this by hand, and these don't have to be that accurate. Okay, now go up here to the shape, hold the Control key down and click on the icon. That selects the contents of that layer. In this case, it selects that square. Let's go back over here to the rectangular marquee tool, and down in the tool options, click on this, which is subtract from selection. And then on our inner guidelines here, click and drag right there and drag down to the bottom right corner. And what that gives us is a selection just outside there. We can now take that selection and make a new layer of just that bit. go back to the Move tool, go up to Layer and New and Layer via Copy. There we go. It just makes a new layer based upon that selection that we just made. There it is. Now, so we can see the difference in here, I'm going to be changing the foreground color, and just make this real easy. I'm actually going to just bring up our color swatches right there. Let's just choose that blue. Just kind of a nice RGB blue, easy to see. Grab the paint bucket and click inside here. Now the colors here don't matter yet. We'll be changing our colors later on. I'm just using blue because it's easy to see for this video. Can now hide that. So that gives us our background for the cube and the outside surround for the cube. We can hide our guidelines for a minute right now. I'll go up here to View and Uncheck Guides. Just get those out of the way. Let's now put our letter in here and come down here to the horizontal type. I'm using Arial Black. There's a good solid black. There it is. Good solid letter. Using caps. And just pick a large type size here. 60 point is fine. I have mine set at center, so it's just going to drop in just like that. And then I'll type in a capital A. Now it's too small, so I need to make this a bit larger. I'll just grab upper right hand corner and I'll pull that out. There we go. And make it so it looks good. You can do anything you want here, but just make it so it looks kind of nice, kind of fills the area. Looks pretty good. Again, I'm just eyeballing that. We don't have to be exact on this. I'll use my keys, my arrow keys, to move that around a little bit just to kind of position that. There's the basic layout. Now, we need our wood grain pattern for this thing. And I'll be doing that above the background here. Let's hide these layers just for a minute. We'll come back to that stuff. Go to the background, make a new layer. There we are. Come down, bottom left-hand corner, and click on that little icon and change your colors back to black and white. Let's now go up to the Filter menu and come down to Render Fibers. And I'm just going to come in here and I'll get kind of a nice fiber look. On this one I'm using 16 or 18, anywhere in here. 18 is kind of nice. Strength, high 50s or 60. Now if you're not happy with the look of that, just click on Randomize. It'll give you a whole bunch of these different looks based upon that basic setting. I want something which is kind of even across like this, lots of lights and darks and kind of even across. That looks pretty good. Notice it just kind of randomizes this but still sticks with your two settings that you've used. Choose OK, and it fills the background with that basic patterning. Now I want to have this rotated. I don't want to have this just straight up and down. So click on one of the corners. I'll click on the upper right hand corner up there. Come down to the tool options, and where it says degrees, just type in 30 and choose OK. That just spins it like that, just a little spin around for us. Now let's show our blue square again. Hold the Control key down and click on that icon. Notice that I'm still on the fibers layer though. Now this selects this area here. I want to invert that. Go up here to Select and Inverse. That selects the outside part there. And then just hit the Delete key and just lose all that stuff. You just kind of cut that off. And then let's deselect that. Select Deselect or the Control D keyboard shortcut. There we go. Now if I hide the blue, we're just seeing that square. If I move this around though, you'll see that we kind of missed stuff that was outside of the page. I need to get rid of that. Mostly because the bounding box is way outside here instead of right around that where I want it. Easy to do. Just grab the rectangular marquee and then just make selections around these, hit the delete key and delete those. And let's just deselect, back to our move tool. And just do this for each one of these pieces that's sitting outside here. There's the delete key again. And we'll move down here. Same thing. And delete. There it is. Select deselect and back over here again one last time with that delete key. There it is. Select and deselect. Okay, I've moved this around, and you want to know how do you get this back exactly in behind this. No problem at all, as long as up here on View and Snap To, you have Guides and Grid and Document Bounds selected. You may want to also just click on that Layers as well. So everything is selected here under the Snap To, and it's just going to snap right to that shape. So it's right in behind. There it is. Okay, I want to see these fibers in this blue rectangle. So click on the blue square layer and then change the blend mode down to hard light, and there we go. There's our basic fibers. We now can show that layer and let's show the lettering again. There we go. That's all. Looks real nice. Okay, now we need to have a bevel on the lettering and on this shape. So I'll go up here to the letter and come down to Styles. Now if you don't see Styles down here, you're not using Photoshop Elements 15, in which case look for the Effects, and then Styles would be in a tab across the top up here. Same place though, just different spot for the button. Again, Photoshop Elements 15, it's down here, and in earlier versions of Photoshop it's on the Effects and it's a tab across the top. So go to Styles and Bevels, and then I want this one right down there. It's called Simple Sharp Inner. Click on that, and there's that bevel. Okay, back to our layers. Let's now right click that top layer with the A on it and choose Copy Layer Style. Click on layer 1, which has our outline here. Right click and paste layer style, and there's that style. We're just about ready now to move on to the next step, but first I'll make a little tweak on this. Once I have all this done, looks like the fibers are a bit too weak in here. I want them stronger on that grained effect. So we can fix that. Come down to the shape layer and then change the blend mode down to color. And it should be a lot stronger. Bring some blacks in there. That looks better. Okay, go back up here to the A. We're now going to combine these 4 layers into a new layer. It's a keyboard shortcut trick. I'll just hide the background first. What this does is it combines the visible layers into a new layer. And that's the keyboard shortcut of Control, Alt, and Shift. Hold those down, then just tap the E key. Oh, tapped it twice by accident, no problem. I'll just delete one of those. And there we go. You can now hide these original layers. Now I'm keeping those here in case I want to go back and make another cube later on. All I need to do is just change that one layer with the A on it to a different letter, and I can have different lettered cubes. Okay, so here's our new cube. We can now adjust this and change the coloration to our wood tone. I'll bring the background back up again. There we go. You're still on the layer 3. This is our cube face layer. Go up to Enhance, come down to Adjust Color and Adjust Hue Saturation, and then click on Colorize. It just gives you a colorized version like that. Now on the hue, pull it to the right and you can get more of a lighter tone, and then bring your saturation up a bit. I'm trying to get kind of a yellow wood tone, but not too real yellow, but just kind of a yellowish to it. Bring our lightness up a little bit, not too far. That looks pretty good in here someplace. I think right about there. So on this one I'm using 41 on the hue, 50 on the saturation, and a lightness of plus 12. And that looks pretty good. I kind of like that effect. And you can do anything you want here. You can make any color you feel like having in there, but that one looks pretty good. 40, 50, and 12 looks pretty nice. Choose OK. There we go. Now I want to fill the face in, just kind of paint the face in here a different color. And we'll do that. I'll use my swatches again. So let's bring up the window and color swatches. There we go. For the first one, let's go to this green right to the left-hand side of the blue that we used earlier. Choose that one. Come down to the paint bucket, and then just click in the middle of that outline and then into the A. That paints that front surface for us. Okay, back to the Move tool. Let's make a copy of this one now. Drag it up to the New Layer button. There we go. And I'll pull that to the right. Let's now change this one. I'll click on yellow. Let's use this yellow and it says a little bit duller looks more natural here. Click on that yellow. It's the CMYK yellow. And then back to the paint bucket, and then where it's green, click on those with yellow. Okay, back to our original. Drag it up again. Make a copy that way. Drag that to the left-hand side. There we go. Let's now colorize this one red. I'll just choose that red up here. You can use a bright red or the CMYK red, which is just a little bit duller. Again, looks a little bit more natural. And paint bucket, and click in where the green is. And there's the coloration for our cube faces. You can now hide the swatches. Let's bring our guides back up again. So view and guides, there we go. Okay, back to the yellow layer right here. We now have our nice guide, so we're going to pull this in right there. That's my halfway point. That's the 4.5 that we made at the beginning. Choose OK. Now go up to Image, Transform, and Skew, and then grab that middle right-hand control handle, push that up until the upper right-hand corner reaches that crossing of those two guidelines right there, and choose OK. Now, come down to the red layer. I'm going to squish this down so it's half as tall, just like that. And I'll pull this up here and put it on top, and then we'll squish it down even further so it matches that half-inch line that we had, and choose OK. Let's now skew this over to fit. That's Image, Transform, Skew, and grab the top middle control handle and pull that to the right-hand side until that fits, and choose OK. Now we're going to make a little adjustment here. We want the back smaller than the fronts. So to do that, I'm still on the top red layer here. Go up to Image, Transform, and Distort. Grab the upper left-hand corner and just pull it over here to that guideline. Just pull it straight across to that guideline. There it is. And choose OK. Go to the yellow layer. Same thing. Grab that bottom right-hand corner and drag that up to this guideline. So that's going to be Image, Transform, Distort, and just pull that straight up to that next guideline, just like that. Choose OK. Now the backs are smaller than the fronts, and it looks more like it's in perspective. We can now hide our guides. And the one area that you may have problems with on this one, when you do this technique, is this upper right-hand corner. Sometimes that comes in a little bit off. As you can see, it did right there. It's just a little bit off. We can fix that. I'm going to back out just a touch. That layer right there, there it is. That's the top layer. You see it's kind of horizontal across the top there. Image, Transform, Distort. Grab that upper right-hand corner, and you can move that corner around anywhere you want. So just bring it in so it's right in there, touching that corner. Now, if it doesn't quite fit, again, let's just zoom in. We'll try getting this really close to exact here. I'm going to come down and I'm going to uncheck the snap to in here. So guides, grid, and layers, that's good. Just uncheck layers. And back to Image, Transform, Distort, and see if we can just kind of edge that over. There we go. Just kind of move it over just a little bit until it's right against that corner. That looks good. Let me just hide that. There it is. Just a little tweak on that, and now it's perfect. And let's set this back on Fit on Screen. So there's the cube. Now that's these top 3 layers up here. Those 3 layers. You can then select all of those and move those around if you want to. Kind of just center those like that, and you're all set to go. Now if you want to do multiple cubes in here, all you need to do is just to merge these together. Let's do that trick one more time. So hide the background. There it is. And we only have just those 3 layers showing. Same thing, those keyboard control, Alt, Shift, and then tap the E key once. That merges those together into that new layer. I can then hide those. And now I have just that as one piece. So now I could take this and I could copy that layer and I can get myself 2 cubes. There you go. So you can have fun that way. Okay, let's just delete that one, and we'll go ahead and finish this video off like I had it at the beginning. Bring the background back up again. There we go. And let's change the background now. To do that, come down to Graphics. Bring our graphics up. Make sure you set to by type and backgrounds. Right there. And then just scroll down and you'll find those sunburst ray things quite a ways down the list. I'm just using the wheel on my mouse right now just to scroll down this list until I spot those backgrounds. Those have been inside of Elements for quite a few versions now, so you'll have these. And it's down here somewhere towards the bottom of the list. We're getting pretty close. There we go. And that's the one you want. Just take that, double click. It applies that background, and there we go. Go back to our layers again. Back to our top layer. That's our combined cube. And that's how you can make this kind of fake 3D wooden letter cube. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. If you like this video, click on the like button below to let others know. You can click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos in the future. I'm frequently uploading new training videos. Don't forget to check out my website at howtogurus.com.